So now that it's dawning on us, the realization that we are no longer a Premier League club and we will be commencing the 26-27 season as an EFL Sky Bet Championship club and not a Premier League one. I'm starting to find a few positives within the negative. Now, don't get me wrong, I would much rather us be a Premier League club, have us playing against the elite teams in England, the likes of Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, all of those clubs, and other London derbies against teams like Palace, Fulham. But I am starting to find some things that I can sort of have as some sort of consolation, if you will. And I'm hoping that I can get a little bit of your opinions as well. You've got a comment section below, so please get stuck into it. There's bound to be things that you're going to come at me with. Have I thought about this? And I don't agree with you on that. And all of those things besides. And that's absolutely fine. The comment section's there. Get stuck into it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Drop a like on this stream. Comment on it, as I say, and share this on your socials. So let's get stuck into it. So one of the things that I think often happens with a club that gets relegated is that the fans look at the playing staff and have some questions to ask about not just their playing ability, of course, but also some of their characteristics as them as an individual. Now, the story about Jean-Claire Todibo, that he's apparently had a massive bust up with Nuno ahead of the Leeds game and basically said, I'm not going to play for you again, probably shines a little bit of a light on his characteristic. And is that really someone you can rely upon? Is that really someone that when the sort of like the slings and arrows are flying around and you're hunkered down in the trenches, is that really someone that you want in and amongst your ranks? I would say no. Maybe the relegation offers a little bit of an opportunity for us to have something of a reset. I've often heard that phrase thrown about. This offers a chance for us to sweep the decks clean and get people in who actually want to play for the club, actually want to represent the badge with a little bit of pride. It may offer an opportunity for some of the academy prospects that have probably not had the opportunities that in the Premier League that they would get in Championship. Now there's their opportunity. So Freddie Potts, obviously, he broke through into the first team during the course of the season just finished, obviously dropped out and was replaced by Nuno. So towards the end, he wasn't a first choice pick, but there was a little phase of the Premier League where he got experience in the first team in the Premier League. So he could be coming into a Championship realm. And I think that there's a possibility that he could be someone that gets that opportunity. Lewis Orford's another one. Ollie Scarles. I've not been particularly impressed with El Hadji Malik Diouf. I got to be honest, I was never his biggest fan. I thought he was a defender that couldn't defend, which for me, I think is a fundamental flaw. So it offers an opportunity. Ezra Mayers could have an opportunity to come in. So there's a few of the academy prospects that have an opportunity to step up, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of players that are going to be moving out the door either because their contracts are up or quite simply we cannot afford them now that we're a Championship club. So that's one thing that I would say that is a positive. Another positives are that we're going to get to reacquaint ourselves with some old rivals. Now, the first one that most people were probably looking forward to is the games against Millwall. Now, Millwall are historically our biggest rival. Now, they come from the East End originally. A lot of people think that they're from South London originally, but they're no more South London than Arsenal are North London. They're actually an East London club from the Isle of Dogs. So that's an opportunity for a little bit of an old rivalry going back many, many years, over 100 years in its history. We've not really played them that much over the years because usually we've occupied different divisions, and it's usually been when we played each other in cups. Who can forget the League Cups fixtures? Was it 2010, 2011 season under Avram Grant? It all got a little bit naughty, but that just sort of like gives you an illustration for those of you that are not quite sure about the rivalry between the two clubs. If you go back and watch that, you'll soon get the vibe that there's an awful lot of ill feeling, animosity, energy, call it what you want. But fundamentally, these are the games that both sets of supporters really do look for. When those fixtures are announced, first day of the Championship, the fans of Millwall are going to look, when are we playing West Ham home and away? And vice versa, we're going to look and see when we're playing Millwall. There's other rivalries as well. We've obviously got a London rivalry of sorts with Charlton Athletic, who, from where I live, they're a local team for me. Living in sort of like northwest Kent, they're in southeast London, the verges of northwest Kent. So that would be a local one for me. And Sheffield United. Now, obviously, they're not rivals in a historical in a locality sense, but they're obviously the rivalry spawned off of the 2006-2007 Great Escape, when obviously we got out of the relegation battle on that occasion, and it was Sheffield United that went down at our expense, and there was all of the fallout from the Carlos Tevez affair, as it was known, and so we've always had something of a rivalry with them from that point onwards. So that's another little thing that will probably be a positive as far as I'm concerned, and probably a lot of you guys will be looking forward to a few of those fixtures. Other matches that I think will be quite interesting, teams that we haven't sort of played historically, again, down the years, but newly promoted Lincoln City is another city that I suppose a lot of people that like to tick destinations off on away trips is another one that might be of interest. But probably the biggest thing that me personally am quite looking forward to in the Championship that we don't have, or we wouldn't have the opportunity to have in the Premier League, is having no VAR. Whereas in the Premier League, obviously, VAR is a thing. And who can forget the game against Arsenal, the game that was the goal that was chalked off that Callum Wilson got? If that stands, whole different thing. But it is what it is. It got chalked off rightly or wrongly. But even if sort of like just moving that to one side, the thing for me that I really hate with VAR is the fact that the ball hits the back of the net and any fan's natural reaction is to cheer. Jump up, you celebrate and all the rest of it. But then you've got that little pause button that you've got to hit. And it's, right, okay, is the ref, is the VAR going to intervene, the bloke at Stockley Park, whatever? Are they going to jump in and cut me off at the legs? And that's always sort of like something that I get really frustrated about. I mean, I know that VAR is still a human. There's still opinions, that still mistakes can be made. But I think that when you're looking at a decision like for 5 minutes, multiple different angles, zooming in, all of the different sort of things that you can do with the video footage, and it's still something that just sort of really frustrates people that follow football. And even if the decision goes for you, I think that probably in the back of your mind, you're sort of like, you're sitting there sort of like 5 minutes later thinking, wow, that took a long time to sort of get round to, and it's quite frustrating. And now you're sort of like seeing matches where it's quite routine of you getting additional time of double-digit minutes. So these are all things that I'm looking forward to. What am I not looking forward to? Like I say, missing out on the big matches when Man United come rolling into town, when Arsenal come rolling into town, packed stadiums. But another thing also that I'm going to be quite sort of looking forward to seeing in a funny sort of way, but it'll be a little bit tinged with how's this going to look, is the fact that in the Premier League, you've obviously got a lot of day trippers. Didn't seem to happen so much against Leeds. It seemed very much like that there was an awful lot more of proper West Ham support in the ground against Leeds, as opposed to what you normally get with the day trippers. But they're not really going to come to watch West Ham v Lincoln, are they? On a Tuesday night in November when it's chucking down with rain. I think they're probably going to stay away and probably go and watch Chelsea versus Liverpool or something like that. Much more appealing to someone that's just got off the plane and he's basically a tourist with their 50-50 scarves. So how's that going to look? 62,500 is the footballing capacity for London Stadium, as I recollect. How's that going to look when all the day trippers don't come? Now, is that going to create a better atmosphere because the people that don't add anything? I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know whether it's going to help us or hinder us. But I do sort of ask, how is that going to look if we're sort of like taking 42,000, say, or 37,000, whatever it is in that stadium? That's still probably going to be comfortably the biggest average attendances if that's what we're taking week on week, which I expect we will. But that will be in a stadium that holds 62,500. So how will that look optically? It will look quite bad, despite the fact we will be the biggest supported club in that division on a match day attendance basis. So yeah, there's a few things there that I think I'm looking forward to. That, like I say, the rivalry with Millwall, the no VAR, the tourists that don't add anything to the atmosphere, and quite the reverse can do one as far as I'm concerned. But what about you? What's your thoughts? I mean, there's a few things that I've listed there. There's probably a few other things besides. we've got to get our head around the relegation. Look, it is what it is, and to be fair, and I know there are people that say that we wouldn't have gone down with 39 points in the season before or 2 seasons ago or this, that, and the other. Factually, at the end of the day, in this season, 2025-2026 season, we were one of the bottom 3 teams in the Premier League. The table doesn't lie. And we can sit here and we can complain about this, that, and the other. The fact of the matter is, we ended up in the bottom 3 and we're going down and we deserve to go down. So we've got to lick our wounds and just come back stronger. But it'll be interesting to see what it looks like in the Championship. I think that it does offer us an opportunity to reset, calibrate ourselves, go again, come back stronger. But we do need to do this at the first time of asking, because I think as the years roll on, it becomes more and more difficult. What we don't want to do is do what clubs like Leeds did years ago, Sunderland did years ago, Leicester did this season just finished, where you end up finding yourself that the rot sets in and it actually sort of like takes you to the division below. That I don't want to even contemplate, to be honest with you, but it's one of those things that I've got sort of like in the back of my mind, I suppose. Despite that fact, but anyway, that's me. I mean, like I say, I am trying to find positives where I can in the negative. Like I say, I'm not jumping for joy at relegation from the Premier League. Make no mistake, I'm quite frustrated about it. But there has to be some things that we need to sort of like take out of it as a little bit of a crumb of comfort. But what say you? You've got the comment section below. Get stuck into it. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the stream, and consider sharing this on your social media platforms. Come on, you Irons.